Fam, stop everything you're doing because what just went down in hip-hop is absolute chaos. Kendrick Lamar just previewed something that has the streets, the culture, and the entire music world shaking in anticipation. And this isn't your regular back-and-forth rap battle. It's a move so intense, so calculated, that it could redefine the rules of the game. Drake dropped Iceman on May 15, 2026. 3 albums, a full spectacle, CN Tower takeover, YouTube live streams, and buried inside those tracks are subliminal shots that go beyond bars. He didn't just challenge Kendrick's music. He went after his community, his fans, and the very authenticity that defines him. The line he crossed? That's what has everyone talking. That's the line you don't come back from. And the streets are buzzing. Fans are dissecting every lyric like forensic evidence. Memes are exploding. TikTok reactions are viral in minutes. YouTube is flooded with breakdowns of every subliminal jab. The culture is in a frenzy, fam, and no one is calm about this. But here's the kicker. Kendrick hasn't even responded publicly. Not a tweet. Not an Instagram story. Nothing. That silence is louder than every track Drake has ever dropped. And if the rumors are true, what you're about to witness could destroy narratives, topple expectations, and leave the streets shook, so buckle up. We're breaking down every move Drake made, every line that crossed the line, and why Kendrick's next play could leave the world speechless. Trust me, fam. You do not want to blink during this one. Fam, before we dive into the preview itself and the line Drake crossed, you need to understand the history, the stakes, and the people involved. This isn't just a rap battle. It's a war of legacies, philosophies, and identities that define an entire generation of hip-hop. Kendrick Lamar, born and raised in Compton, didn't just grow up in a city of chaos. He grew up watching the streets swallow friends and family, witnessing systemic oppression firsthand, and experiencing the kind of trauma that shapes a generation. And instead of running from that environment, Kendrick ran toward it, using music as a weapon, a platform, and a healing tool. From Good Kid, Made City to Pimp a Butterfly and Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Kendrick's albums are more than music. They're testaments of survival, cultural storytelling, and moral responsibility. Every lyric, every verse, every line carries weight, and the streets, the critics, and even casual listeners feel it. Drake, on the other hand, hails from a completely different world. From his Degrassi days to global superstardom, he built a career on relatability, charisma, and chart-topping hits. Drake's narrative is aspirational, global, and meticulously curated. He appeals to millions across the world. But for the streets, for those who value authenticity and lived experience, there's always been a debate. Is Drake performing, or has he lived the life he raps about? And that tension is exactly what makes this feud combustible. Now, rewind to the early 2010s. Kendrick and Drake first collaborated on Take Care, and for a moment, it seemed like a perfect union of artistry and influence. Kendrick got a platform to showcase his genius to a mainstream audience, and Drake aligned himself with authentic street credibility. But you could feel the undercurrents of rivalry forming, because both men are not just artists. They're strategists, competitors, and legacy builders. Fast forward to 2013, Kendrick drops the legendary Control verse on Big's track. He calls out the biggest names in rap, including Drake. Not for publicity, not for drama, but because Kendrick has a killer instinct for competition. He's wired differently. That moment changed everything. Drake, a superstar at the time, had to face the reality that Kendrick wasn't just a rising star. He was a threat to cultural dominance. The dynamics shifted, subtle but seismic, setting the stage for years of tension. The years that followed were a chess game. Drake continued releasing hits, freestyles, and collaborations, subtly shading Kendrick without sparking open confrontation. Kendrick, ever patient, kept building his legacy through albums, performances, and strategic releases. Every Grammy, every Super Bowl performance, every viral moment cemented his authority and left Drake in a position where his attempts to dominate culturally were being met with calculated resistance. Now let's talk about Iceman. Released on May 15, 2026, it wasn't just an album drop. It was a full-scale cultural assault. 3 albums at once, CN Tower takeover, YouTube live streams. Every track carefully aimed to provoke, every subliminal designed to undermine Kendrick's credibility, his community, and his authenticity. And this is where things get wild. The line Drake crossed wasn't in a bar. It wasn't subtle, it was personal, going after the foundation of what makes Kendrick revered by fans and critics alike. Meanwhile, Kendrick didn't flinch. No public response, no subtweets, no Instagram posts. Just silence. But that silence isn't passive, it's strategic. It's a psychological masterstroke. the streets, the fans, the culture. They're all analyzing, speculating, and debating what he might do next. That suspense is electric, and it's not just about music anymore. This is about legacy, cultural influence, and strategic dominance. The tension is layered: Drake's flashy public assault versus Kendrick's silent, methodical planning. Every move, every reaction, every rumor adds fuel to the fire. The internet is exploding, fans are dissecting lyrics, memes are viral, and journalists are framing this as a battle for the soul of hip-hop in 2026. Kendrick's history, his rise, and his legacy make this moment inevitable. Every bar Drake dropped, every subliminal jab, every spectacle only reinforces the narrative. Kendrick doesn't respond impulsively. He calculates, waits, and controls the narrative from behind the scenes. And fam, the streets are buzzing with anticipation, because everyone knows the next move will be legendary, whether we see it in a track, a visual, or a cultural statement. So before we dive into the preview, understand this: the stakes aren't just about bars or album sales. They're about who controls the cultural conversation, who defines authenticity, and who shapes hip-hop's moral authority. Drake tried to provoke, he tried to dominate. But Kendrick's preparation, his patience, and his strategic genius make the streets and the culture hold their breath. The drama is set. The tension is at maximum. And the next chapter, Kendrick's preview, the line crossed and what comes next, will determine who truly controls the narrative of 2026 hip-hop. Fam, this is where the streets, the culture, and even the industry start to feel the heat. Drake didn't just release Iceman. He launched a full-scale offensive aimed squarely at Kendrick Lamar, trying to reclaim the narrative and assert dominance. But the thing is, Drake didn't realize what he was stepping into. This wasn't just a bars. This was strategy versus strategy, history versus hype, patience versus impulse. And Kendrick had already laid the groundwork. The scene is chaotic. May 15th, 2026, Drake drops 3 albums simultaneously. Iceman, Maid of Honor, Habibti. Each one a weapon, each track carefully aimed to provoke, each lyric a potential spark for controversy. And the internet explodes instantly. YouTube, TikTok, X, Instagram, every platform is buzzing with reaction clips, lyric breakdowns, and speculation. Fans are dissecting subliminals, lines that question Kendrick's authenticity, his fan base, and even subtle jabs at his community work. Memes go viral faster than anyone can blink, exaggerating the lines and twisting interpretations into full-blown debates. And fam, here's the tension. Drake crosses a line. Not physically, not legally, but culturally. In Iceman, there's a bar that doesn't just shade Kendrick. It attacks his legacy, his ethos, and the very respect he commands in hip-hop. It's a move so sharp, insiders say it shocked Kendrick's camp. Social media threads immediately catch fire. Did Drake just go too far? Kendrick isn't going to let this slide. And the streets collectively hold their breath, waiting for a response that might never come, or might hit harder than anyone expects. Kendrick's reaction? Silence. Absolute, calculated silence. Fam, that silence isn't emptiness, it's strategy. He's watching the culture, measuring the impact of every lyric, every visual, every meme. Every single reaction Drake provoked is being cataloged, studied, and stored for maximum effect when the response finally lands. It's chess, not checkers, and Drake is still moving like this is just another bar fight. Meanwhile, inside industry circles, executives are panicking quietly. Drake's triple album spectacle is impressive, but Kendrick's silence has created a vacuum that the culture fills. Every fan debate, every social media breakdown, every viral clip reinforces the notion. Kendrick isn't losing. If anything, the more Drake pushes, the more Kendrick controls the narrative. And here comes the first twist, the moment that changes everything. Rumors surface of Kendrick's new previewed diss. Not a full track, but snippets, teasers, strategic hints, and cryptic imagery. Fans speculate wildly. Some claim Kendrick is plotting a visual masterpiece. Others think it's a single lyric drop that will shake the narrative to its core. The streets, online forums, and YouTube reaction channels explode with predictions, theories, and overreactions. The suspense is unbearable. Everyone wants to know, how will Kendrick respond? Will he obliterate Drake? Or is he setting a trap even bigger than what we are imagining? The internet frenzy reaches its peak when a leaked snippet, purportedly from Kendrick's studio, hits social media. Clips are short, but the emotional intensity is off the charts. Fans dissect every syllable, every pause, every beat. Even celebrities get involved. Cryptic posts, subtle gestures, and references in interviews all fuel the speculation. The culture is no longer debating music. It's debating morality, legacy, and authority in hip-hop. Drake, on the other hand, continues his rollout aggressively. Streaming numbers spike, visuals dominate, and every bar is dissected by fans as if it were evidence in a trial. But here's the cruel irony. The more Drake pushes, the more he fuels the anticipation of Kendrick's response. And the more the culture sees him as reactive, desperate, and still in Kendrick's shadow. And then comes the second layer of conflict, internal feuds and alliances. Insiders report Drake's allies are conflicted, unsure whether to publicly support him or stay silent. LeBron James, J. Cole, Travis Scott, and DJ Khaled are all mentioned in passing by the culture as potential influences, but none have moved decisively, leaving Drake to face both Kendrick and the public perception alone. This isolation heightens tension, making every move Drake makes scrutinized and every misstep amplified. The first shocking twist? A fan-fueled rumor. Kendrick's preview isn't just a single response, it's a multi-layered strategy. Some believe it involves unreleased collaborations, visual storytelling, and lyric drops timed perfectly to counter every angle of Iceman. And while this is rumor, the culture treats it as fact, turning anticipation into a weapon itself. Now imagine this. Drake has thrown everything into the spotlight. 3 albums, global spectacle, subliminals aimed at Kendrick, and the audience is as obsessed with what comes next. Kendrick's silence and the hints of a carefully crafted response turn Drake's offensive into a countdown for his own potential downfall. Every social media thread, every YouTube reaction, every viral meme adds pressure. The more Drake moves, the more the culture prepares for Kendrick's strike. And fam, this is where the emotional stakes skyrocket. Drake's frustration is palpable. Fans post memes about him being obsessed or haunted, while Kendrick supporters celebrate the genius of his calculated silence. The tension is no longer music, it's psychological warfare, legacy battles, and cultural dominance all at once. By now, the first twist has escalated into a full-blown spectacle. Drake's Iceman is no longer just an album. It's a test, a trap, and a spotlight for Kendrick's next move. And the streets, fans, and industry insiders all know one thing. When Kendrick finally responds, the world will never see it coming. And here's the cliffhanger, fam, the first twist of this saga. Kendrick's preview suggests that the line Drake crossed isn't just a bar, it's a catalyst for something far bigger. The previewed diss could redefine the feud, the culture, and even Drake's relevance in 2026 hip-hop. And nobody knows if the next move is a track, a visual, or an unprecedented cultural strike. The suspense is at a fever pitch. Fans are obsessed. Social media is exploding. The industry is watching. And the streets are holding their breath. Because the moment Kendrick moves, it won't just be music. It will be a seismic shift in hip-hop power, strategy, and legacy. Fam, now the drama escalates to a level that the culture cannot ignore. After Drake dropped Iceman, the internet went wild. But Kendrick Lamar's silence isn't passive. No, this is masterclass-level strategy. Every fan debate, every social media clip, every viral thread fuels anticipation, tension, and speculation about what Kendrick's next move could be. The streets exploded when snippets of Kendrick's upcoming preview hit the platforms. Not a full track, just teasers, but enough to make fans dissect every syllable, every pause, every beat. TikTok and YouTube reaction channels were running non-stop, analyzing these snippets like forensic evidence. Memes went viral, exaggerating lyrics and visuals for dramatic effect. Instagram threads debated every angle, and even X, formerly Twitter, became a battlefield of theories. Is Kendrick about to obliterate Drake's narrative? Or is this all a setup for the biggest mind game in hip-hop history? And it wasn't just fans. Celebrities got involved, subtly fueling the drama. LeBron James posted a cryptic story. Some moves are louder when nothing is said. J. Cole hinted at understanding the stakes without naming names. Travis Scott and DJ Khaled dropped subtle references during interviews, signaling alignment with Kendrick's calculated restraint. Drake, meanwhile, is now facing a perfect storm of public pressure, industry scrutiny, and cultural speculation, and every move he makes is amplified under a microscope. The previews themselves were jaw-dropping. A snippet hinted at a bar so sharp that fans claimed it would force Drake's triple album to be seen as reactive, desperate, and secondary. The way Kendrick delivers it, calm, deliberate, precise, makes the audience feel tension in every pause. It's not just music, it's psychological warfare. Social media users are editing the clips, adding slow motion, highlighting bars, and interpreting subtle gestures as part of Kendrick's strategy. Meanwhile, the industry is exploding with chatter. Record labels, producers, and A&R executives are watching closely. Streaming platforms reported unprecedented spikes not just for Drake's Iceman, but also for Kendrick's older tracks. Not like us, Euphoria. Meet the Grams, as listeners revisit his catalog, comparing every bar and every strategy. Analysts note that Drake's technical skill is undeniable, but his strategy is now backfiring culturally, because Kendrick's calculated silence and previewed diss are controlling the narrative. Fans are divided into factions. Some believe Drake landed technically, dropping sharp bars and massive visuals. Others argue that Kendrick's restraint, silence, and hints of a strategic counterplay are infinitely more powerful, turning the culture and media attention entirely toward him. The streets are debating. Does winning require public retaliation, or does Kendrick's psychological dominance through strategy suffice? And then comes the shocking twist, the escalation of online theory into industry speculation. Rumors begin circulating that Kendrick's response may not be a traditional diss track at all. Some claim he's collaborating with top producers, creating a visual album, or even orchestrating live performances designed to preemptively neutralize Drake's narrative. Whether true or speculative, the narrative is now fan-fueled, viral, and unstoppable. Every meme, reaction video, and Instagram story amplifies the suspense. The internet becomes a massive, interconnected debate forum. Threads on Reddit and X speculate that Kendrick's preview is a masterstroke of strategy, designed to let the culture itself interpret his counterattack. Some fans theorize that subtle Easter eggs in the preview hint at hidden collaborations and multi-layered responses. The anticipation creates tension so thick that it feels like the streets themselves are holding their breath. Drake, meanwhile, continues promoting Iceman aggressively. Media coverage highlights his global spectacle, CN Tower light shows, and YouTube live events. Every line is dissected for intent, subliminal messaging, and cultural impact. Yet the more Drake pushes, the more he feeds Kendrick's narrative. Every attempt to dominate becomes a stage for Kendrick's silence to shine, turning public perception against him in subtle but devastating ways. The first escalation is followed by a second shocking reveal. Sources hint that Kendrick has already recorded multiple unseen tracks designed to target Drake indirectly. While nothing is public yet, fans interpret past posts, rehearsal clips, and studio hints as evidence of a pending strike. The suspense reaches fever pitch because the culture starts imagining what could happen, not what has happened. By now, the feud is no longer just music. It's strategy, culture, psychology, and legacy all intertwined. Fans post memes comparing Drake's triple album to a chessboard, with Kendrick's silence as the ultimate checkmate. Reaction videos break down the tiniest bar, the smallest gesture, framing Kendrick as master of the narrative without uttering a full track. The streets, critics, and industry insiders all agree. The escalation has reached unprecedented heights, and the cliffhanger? Kendrick's preview suggests that the final move may already be in motion, whether the public knows it or not. The culture is holding its breath. Fans are obsessing over every snippet. Drake's strategy, Iceman, and his spectacle may all be preemptively undermined by Kendrick's silent, methodical approach. And the streets are asking the same burning question. When Kendrick finally strikes, will it obliterate Drake's comeback, or will it redefine hip-hop strategy forever? Fam, this escalation isn't just a twist. It's a total narrative inversion. Every move Drake makes feeds the suspense. Every hint Kendrick drops fuels speculation. And the audience? We're on the edge of our seats, waiting for a revelation that may change the entire landscape of 2026 hip-hop. The suspense is unbearable. The theories are endless. And one thing is crystal clear. When Kendrick finally acts, the streets, the fans, and the industry will never forget it. Fam, if you thought the drama stopped with Iceman, think again. The moment Drake's triple album hit, the internet erupted into chaos. Fans, influencers, journalists, and even casual observers were dissecting every bar, every visual, every subliminal shot, and the streets were absolutely buzzing. And here's the wildest part. Kendrick Lamar still hasn't publicly responded. That silence alone is creating more heat than any diss track ever could. Across X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, hashtags exploded. Kendrick silence, Iceman crosses the line, Rap Chess 2026, Drake vs. Dot. Fans dissected lyrics line by line, creating reaction compilations, memes, and slow-motion breakdowns of subliminal jabs. TikTok clips went viral within minutes, showing dramatic reenactments of bars with captions like, "He crossed the line. Kendrick isn't gonna let this slide." On YouTube, reaction channels exploded with live analysis, playing snippets of Drake's tracks repeatedly, pausing at every subtle insult or community jab. The culture was obsessed, and the streets were collectively holding their breath. Celebrities added fuel to the fire. LeBron James posted a cryptic story. Some moves are louder when nothing is said. J. Cole hinted at understanding the stakes without naming names. Travis Scott and DJ Khaled dropped subtle references during interviews, signaling alignment with Kendrick's methodical approach. The commentary wasn't direct. They didn't need to be. Silence and subtle gestures amplified the suspense and made the feud feel larger than life. Streaming platforms reported unprecedented activity. Drake's Iceman streams were through the roof, but Kendrick's older catalog, not like us, Euphoria, Meet the Grams, spiked too. Fans revisited past work, analyzing lyrics for subliminal context and potential responses. Industry insiders called it a cultural chessboard, where every move, post, and snippet mattered more than the technical bars. Analysts observed, Drake may have aimed for dominance, but Kendrick's strategic silence and the anticipations surrounding his preview created a narrative advantage that Drake couldn't buy. Fans divided into factions. Drake supporters praised the album's energy, visuals, and technical skill. Kendrick supporters celebrated restraint, patience, and the psychological masterstroke of letting the culture itself interpret his next move. Forums and threads turned into war zones with arguments over authenticity, legacy, and strategy. Memes exaggerated every visual, social media comment and lyric into a cultural phenomenon. The streets were no longer just observing, they were participants in the narrative. Rumors and fan theories escalated the drama further. Some claimed Kendrick's preview hinted at hidden collaborations, unreleased tracks, and a visual project that could completely redefine Iceman's impact. Whether true or not, the culture treated it as fact. Every Instagram story, rehearsal snippet, and cryptic social media hint was dissected like a clue in a thriller. People debated, will Kendrick respond through lyrics, visuals, or a silent cultural strike? Meanwhile, Drake's campaign continued aggressively. Media coverage highlighted his CN Tower takeover, live streams, and social media promotion. Every bar was analyzed for intention and subliminal messaging. But here's the irony. The more Drake pushed, the more the culture focused on Kendrick. Every attempt at narrative dominance only made the streets, the critics, and the fans anticipate Kendrick's next move even more. Industry reaction mirrored the chaos online. Executives, producers, and label insiders reported mixed emotions. Admiration for Drake's ambition, but worry over how Kendrick's silence and strategic hints were undermining the triple album spectacle. Streaming analytics, social engagement metrics, and cultural chatter all suggested that Drake's aggressive strategy might have inadvertently strengthened Kendrick's narrative control. Public debates reached fever pitch. Memes comparing Drake's triple album to a chessboard, with Kendrick's silence as checkmate dominated feeds. Reaction videos dissected visuals, gestures, and subtle audio cues in Kendrick's preview. Fans theorized about every unseen studio session, every potential collaboration, and every cryptic visual cue. Some said Kendrick's next move could obliterate Drake's narrative without a single direct diss, turning public perception completely in his favor. And fam, the suspense isn't just for show, it's real. Every post, every meme, every insider tip now counts as part of the narrative. Drake's Iceman, meant to dominate, has now fueled the anticipation of Kendrick's strategic counter. The culture is watching, analyzing, and waiting. Every single fan, critic, and industry insider knows that the next move could redefine 2026 hip-hop. The cliffhanger is clear. Kendrick's silence has turned into a weapon. The public, the industry, and the streets are all on edge, waiting for whether Kendrick will respond directly with a track, a visual project, or through subtle cultural maneuvers. And the tension? It's at maximum. The drama isn't just music, it's legacy, strategy, and psychological dominance in action. Fam, the reaction is global, the stakes are sky high, and the suspense is unbearable. And one thing is certain, when Kendrick finally moves, the culture will never be the same. Fam, this is the moment where everything changes. Up until now, Drake's Iceman dropped with the weight of 3 albums, a full spectacle, subliminal shots, and a media blitz aimed at destabilizing Kendrick Lamar. But here's the reality. Kendrick's preview has flipped the narrative in ways no one saw coming. And the streets, the culture, and the industry are holding their breath. The first shocking revelation? Kendrick's silence wasn't passive. It was calculated, surgical, and psychologically devastating. Every social media snippet, every cryptic studio post, every rehearsal clip is part of a plan to let Drake's offensive self-destruct under public scrutiny. Think about it. Drake poured energy into a global spectacle, dropping bars, visuals, and performances designed to provoke. Meanwhile, Kendrick let the culture amplify the tension for him. The suspense itself has become a weapon. Sources close to Kendrick suggest that his preview isn't a conventional diss track. Fam, this is bigger than bars. Some insiders claim he's preparing a multi-layered response, a combination of visuals, live events, and subtle lyrical teases that will hit Drake from every possible angle. Fans online are dissecting every frame, every pause, every line in anticipation. Some speculate that this could be a visual album strategy, designed to let the audience interpret the counter without Kendrick ever speaking directly. And here's the most brutal twist. Drake's triple album, which was meant to dominate, may already be framed as reactive. Social media threads, reaction videos, and fan debates are reframing Iceman as desperate, obsessive, and ultimately secondary to Kendrick's silent dominance. Every move Drake made to provoke attention is now being absorbed into Kendrick's narrative, making him look even more strategic. Meanwhile, the streets are buzzing with speculation. Memes, YouTube breakdowns, TikTok analysis, they're all building the tension to a fever pitch. Fans are divided. Some argue Drake landed technically and visually. Others say Kendrick's restraint and control are the ultimate power play. Every post, every fan debate, every meme is adding layers to the suspense. And Kendrick hasn't even officially responded yet. Industry insiders are calling it a masterclass in narrative control. Streaming numbers for Drake spiked temporarily, but Kendrick's older tracks, Not Like Us, Euphoria, Meet the Grams, see surges as the culture recontextualizes the feud. Awards, media coverage, and influencer commentary all feed into the suspense. Every silence from Kendrick amplifies the stakes, forcing Drake to confront a psychological and cultural battlefield rather than a musical one. The cliffhanger? Kendrick's preview hints at moves so subtle, yet potentially devastating, that they could obliterate Drake's comeback narrative without a single traditional diss. The streets are holding their breath, the fans are obsessed, and even Drake's allies are uncertain about what will happen next. And here's the kicker. This isn't just a battle of bars, it's a battle of legacy, culture, and perception. Fam, the suspense is unbearable. The internet, the streets, and the industry are all anticipating the next move, and one thing is certain. When Kendrick finally strikes like, or if he continues to dominate through silence, the world will never see it coming. The next chapter will change the rules of hip-hop storytelling forever. Fam, now it's your turn. We've broken down every move, every subliminal jab, and every strategic decision between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. The streets are buzzing, the culture is on edge, and the suspense is unbearable. So we want to hear from you. Do you think Kendrick's silence is the ultimate power move? Or is he about to drop a response that will completely obliterate Drake's Iceman narrative? Is Drake still in control, or has he walked straight into a trap he didn't even see coming? Drop your takes in the comments, fam. Every opinion, every theory, every hot take matters. Smash that like button if this saga has you shook. Share this video with your friends and your crew, because everyone needs to know why Kendrick's next move could change the entire landscape of hip-hop in 2026. And hit the subscribe button. Trust me, when the next chapter drops, you do not want to miss the breakdown. Here's a question to spark debate. If silence can be more powerful than a triple album offensive, what does that say about strategy, legacy, and influence in hip-hop today? Can an artist dominate the culture without dropping a single bar publicly? Or does Drake still have a chance to flip the narrative with Iceman? We're reading every single comment, so let your voice be heard. And fam, stay locked. Every studio post, every cryptic teaser, every social media clue could signal the next explosive chapter in this feud. Notifications on, eyes on the feeds. The anticipation is real, and when Kendrick finally moves, or even if he doesn't, the culture will feel the impact. So tell us, has Kendrick Lamar already claimed victory? Or is Drake's Iceman about to force the ultimate showdown? Be loud, be opinionated, and stay ready. Because the story isn't over, and the streets are watching every single move.